1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Events. How are you guys doing? Hope your week has been phenomenal. And I hope next week is just the same. This is the Babylon 5 Podcast. As I said, this is episode 138. Calling this bad boy Human. I probably called another episode Human. Probably the worst episode of my life. The most loneliest day of my life. You know, I might have named that episode Human. The episode where I played, like, practically all of that Weezer album. I damn near played that entire Weezer album fucking on this podcast. And then fucking Facebook just got rid of my Facebook page. Just got rid of it. Just took it down. No, hey, this is a warning. There was no warning. They just got rid of the Babylon 5 podcast Facebook page. That's why we don't talk about that anymore. We used to talk about that Facebook page. We don't talk about that anymore. Because they took it down when I played that OK Human album. I was really into that album. It's a fire-ass album. I fucks with Weezer. What can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Babylon 5 Podcast. I fucks with Weezer. Hard body. You know, in this episode, we're going to talk about potentially, we're going to talk about, I'm saying potentially here. This is my thing, all right? I guess if I'm talking about it right here, then we're fucking going to talk about it, okay? We're going to fucking talk about it today. I was sitting here, I'm like, nah, I shouldn't even bring light to this shit. I was like, if I don't fuck with it, I don't fuck with it. So therefore, I don't need to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? You feel me there? But I wrote it in my notes beforehand, and I was debating, like, should I just not even mention this bullshit? Should I just not even mention this bullshit? Y'all been playing with me for more than half of my life, nigga? God damn, like the last 20 years. Y'all been fucking with me for the last 20 years, nigga. And today I said, I tapped out, ladies and gentlemen. No more. I knew where my breaking point was. Today we're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts 4. We also are going to talk about Atlanta. We're going to talk about Atlanta, Season 3, Episode 4, The Big Payback. We're going to talk a little bit about Gerard Carmichael's new special. It's called Rothaniel. It's called Rothaniel. Pretty fire. We're going to talk about UFC 273. This wouldn't be the Babylon 5 podcast if we weren't going to talk about UFC. All right? Because what the fuck are we here for if we're not going to talk about the UFC? Definitely got to talk about what I felt like the people's main event. It was funny because after the fight, you know, I was listening to Luke Thomas's live reaction to the fight. And he was like, I felt like I needed a cigarette after that fight. I was saying to my wife after the Khamzat Chimaev Gilbert Burns fight, I was like, yo, they need to hold off these other fights till tomorrow. That shit was a lot. I hadn't even everybody felt the same way. Like, holy fuck, that was a lot of fight in there. That was a lot of fight in there. I didn't need anything else. But I'm cool with what we got. So, along with the Gilbert Khamzat fight, we're gonna talk about in UFC 273. We're gonna talk about Jermaine Sterling versus Petr Yan 2 for all the Jermaines. For all the Jermaines. We're going to talk about that fight, and we're going to talk about Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie, or whatever masterclass we're putting on. We're going to talk a little bit about UFC Fight Night, Bilal Muhammed versus Vicente Luque 2. We're going to talk about that card this week. If you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. Anywhere you guys are listening to this podcast, please be my Niji. Go ahead and hit that like button and let everybody know that you fucks with the Babylon 5 podcast. And I appreciate it so much. As I sip my drink that I'm sure somebody's spitting. I hope not. I mean, I poured this drink literally right here. So, I don't think I spit my own drink. But, if I did. Anywho. Yeah, hit that like button if you've made it thus far. If you've made it thus far, if you're scratching your head like, what the fuck am I listening to? Then hit that like button. I appreciate it so much. If you guys are on Twitch, go to twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys could purchase some merchandise. Head over to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. Cop yourself some merchandise. I cop some merchandise off Teesprings. If you could look at this, if you guys are seeing this video, if I post this to Instagram. Wearing a hoodie from the homie Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, my favorite YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally my favorite YouTuber. Like, Jay Williams drop a video, I'm there. It's he talks about his time in prison, along with just his life. He just talks about his life, actually. It's not just his time in prison. It's just, like, experiences that led him there, and, like, just all this shit you can learn from. He's just a great storyteller, and it's great that he's got the memory to retell, to relive all this shit he saw in prison. So, shout out to Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. Pretty dope channel. My favorite YouTuber, as I said. I don't have nobody else's merch. I don't got nobody else's merch. That should tell you something. But lastly, if you guys, as I said, want to be my Nijis, head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, and you can be my Niji. And if I talked about it, then I said we're going to talk about it here. If I mentioned it as I meant to say, then we're going to talk about it here. We're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts fucking 4. Alright? I woke up this morning. This morning, my nigga. I woke up this morning. And it's kind of fucked up. Because I'm thinking, like, damn, is that the first thing I did when I woke up? I think it's pretty similar. It's right there. It's one of the first things I did. I checked my phone, as we do, and I went on Facebook, and I saw they announced Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming out, nigga. Kingdom Hearts fucking 4 is coming out. It was like, here go the trailer, nigga. It was a Kingdom Hearts 4 in another game. It was like, here go the trailer, nigga. Here go the fucking trailer, my nigga. And I said, nigga, please. Nigga, please. All right, nigga. Y'all been fucking with me since I was like fucking 12. All right? Y'all been fucking with me since I was like 12. And no, y'all ain't been fucking with me since I was like 12. Let me be real with y'all, okay? Y'all came out with the first game. Phenomenal game. I was like, yo, this is fire. I was so happy I got that game. It looked cool in the trailers. Got it. Surpassed my expectations. Kingdom Hearts 1, fire. Kingdom Hearts 2, great. Could have been better, but great. Felt like they rushed it a little bit. Kingdom Hearts 3 was like, nigga, what took you so long? Took like what? It was like 10, 15 years in between games, alright? And as you can tell by the tone of this fucking segment, I was not too satisfied with Kingdom Hearts 3. I took off work, nigga. Alright? When 1 and 2 came out, work wasn't in my fucking day-to-day thing. I was a middle school student, you know? I was a high school student maybe later for Kingdom Hearts 2. But my point is, for Kingdom Hearts 3, my nigga, because it took y'all like 15 years to drop this shit, and it took me like fucking 3 hours of YouTube videos to see what the fuck happened in all these fucking little ass games y'all been dropping along the way. What the fuck are y'all continuing the story for fucking 15 years or whatever in little ass random fucking games that I'm not gonna play? I'm not gonna play those games no matter fucking what. My brother bought me Kingdom Hearts, I don't know, it was some bullshit, something about chains or some shit like that, and it was a weird fighting chain sequence fighting. I don't know, it was lame. I played that game one fucking time, and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this trash. Call me when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. And they did. And I took off work. I took a week off from work. I was like, this is about to be a minute. I was like, you know how much Pixar done came out since the last fucking Kingdom Hearts came out? I'm like, this is about to be fucking a long ass game. I thought it was gonna be a lot of fucking worlds to travel to. I thought it was gonna be pretty expansive. I thought it was gonna be like Kingdom Hearts meets Skyrim type shit. That's what I was fucking thinking it was gonna be. And that's not what I got. I got a short ass game. I'm like 2 days in on vacation. Like, nigga, what? What? That's it? That's it? That can't be the end of the game. It must be, it gotta be something you go to after this, and then you unlock the rest of the game, because that can't be it. We got here too quick. I unlocked everything too quick. I mastered everything too quick. And it's not like, oh shit, you mastered everything too quick. It's like the way you do it, you unlock shit and you just it was like the shit you could get in the older games that were real cool. They like dumbed it all down and made it real simplified. It was weird. They fucking ruined Kingdom Hearts, and it was such a short game. After like 15 years of fucking with me, that I saw that trailer. Oh, I didn't look at the trailer. I saw the post that Kingdom Hearts 4 was coming out, and I said, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Damn, I don't know what's going on with my phone. I was sitting here like, oh shit, I ain't been recording the whole time. Why didn't I start recording? But I hit record, and every time I hit record, it just stops. Yeah, it immediately stops recording. I wonder what's going on. I deleted all the long-ass videos off my phone. All the previous recordings. But now I can't do it anymore. It says my storage is full. Why does it say that? I deleted everything off of here. I deleted everything. Now it's here. But I saw it, alright. And I said no. Now I'm distracted. I wish this shit didn't happen. What's here though? 200 gigabytes. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Damn, I can't even go. I don't even know how to work these phones, nigga. I don't know how to work no iPhones. I don't know how to work no iPhones, so we about to turn it off. Fuck Kingdom Hearts. Nigga, fuck Kingdom Hearts. I can't even rock with it, you know what I'm saying? I can't even rock with it. Jesus. What are all these videos? These videos are like 5 gigs. I'm so sorry. I'm just distracted here. Because at this point, well, I guess I can still, like, upload some shit to Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Because if you guys are following me on Instagram, you see that you can see me talking. You can see me talking. You're like, yo, I don't believe he's actually talking. I hear the voice, but I don't think it's real. Like, I think it's a myth. Have you ever actually seen this nigga talk? I think that's what a lot of you are saying. But I'm real. I'm real, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try this again. With this. Damn. That's so lame. Why wouldn't it tell me this last week? It should have told me this last week. There we go. Maybe it'll stop in a second here. I thought I deleted some shit. I thought I deleted all them videos. Where are they? If I didn't delete those videos, where are they? They're like hour-long videos. But who knows? As I was trying to say in this camera, most importantly, fuck Kingdom Hearts, nigga. That's the visual we need here, if anything, is fuck Kingdom Hearts, nigga. Y'all done played with me for 400 years, nigga. You done abused black people for 400 years. Atlanta, Season 3, Episode 4, The Big Payback. You done abused my people for 400 years. None of the main characters are in this episode of Atlanta. There's no Donald Glover. There's nobody's in this episode, all right? This episode follows this white guy in my notes. This guy named, I think his name is Marshall. And I wrote in my notes, I had to go back because I was like, yo, what's going on here? I couldn't really get what was going on at first. Because this guy Marshall was just like, he was listening to a podcast or a radio broadcast that was talking about this black person was suing a Tesla investor and how if how this lawsuit would have ripple effects that would bring apart reparations. Sorry, just got distracted by some shit. Yeah, that would bring apart reparations. So as the episode goes on, people are getting sued and losing. They're losing, and a lot of it is people are doing these ancestry things, and they're knowing that nigga, yo family owned my great-great-grandma and her father for 12 years. And now they're suing these people's fucking ancestors directly and winning that shit. I was loving it from the get-go. All right? Loving it from the get-go. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Black people were getting reparations by directly suing people from... I mean, that whole ancestry shit is horseshit. That's not real science. It doesn't work. People like, oh shit, I'm 13% blah 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 from the blah blah blah. Nigga, no you're not. Maybe you are, but that test ain't telling you any truths. There's no technology alive to give you that kind of information. Not from that kind of test. That's why, like, that's why when they're doing like, if you ever seen the show Maury, if they were trying to do a paternity test, but the person who was the potential father had died, they couldn't test that dead person's DNA. I forget how this shit works, but just because the person's dead, they couldn't test it. They would have to test, like, the father's DNA to see if there was a match. They would have to test the potential father's DNA to see if there was a match. Because if you niggas watch, shout out to Dan Calloway. That's probably one of my favorite YouTubers as well. But if you follow Dan Calloway, you'll know that the way that shit works, or the way the ancestry DNA literally doesn't work, is that there's certain shit, I forget what it was called. Fuck. It's terrible to use this as an example, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But there's certain shit that's passed only through, like, it's passed down from the mother, right? And mitochondria, I think that's what it is. It's passed from the mother, and only from the mother, all right? So it'll pass to the sons, and it'll pass to the pass to the daughters. And when if the daughter then goes on to have daughters, it'll pass down that mitochondria all the way from, like, forever ago. But it does not carry on in this. There's nothing that carries on in the same way with the male DNA. You see what I'm saying? So you can't in any way get that information. They're saying unless you were to, like, dig up all these people's bodies, all their fucking bones, and get DNA from their bones and test it that way. Like, you'd have to dig up, because there's only through the woman does it, like, pass down through other women, not males. Like, so it doesn't work to say, oh shit, nigga, you're from over there, because you don't get that information that far. You can't even test it. Like, apparently from once these people are dead, it doesn't, like, fuck. I don't know how this shit works, man. But if y'all look that shit up, like, look it up right now. Look up y'all can look that shit up on Maury on YouTube if of a DNA test, a paternity test. All that shit's the same. If you look up, nigga, all that ancestry shit, look it up. Like, that shit does not work. Look it up. Google literally if the science exists for that shit to work, and it does not. So, anywho, back to Atlanta. See, this is what I was trying to tell niggas with this show. It's the greatest show out here. It's just fire, you know? And this episode doesn't have any of the main characters. Sorry. Doesn't have any of the main characters. Because it doesn't need any of the main characters. It's just a story. It follows, as I said, the white dude Marshall. And so he's listening to that podcast, as I was saying, and it's saying that like it's opening the door for reparations. He goes to work, and his business tells him the places of work tells him that like they're gonna downsize pretty soon. People are gonna lose their jobs, and then rumors start spreading that it's because all these black people are suing the company for reparations. And that's why they're downsizing. Now all these white people are like afraid. They're all talking and gossiping that they need to go get an ancestry test to make sure that they didn't own slaves, or they're gonna fucking have to pay out. And then ultimately the guy that they're following, because he's like real cavalier about it, like, yo, I'm not worried about any of this shit. Like, I'm not racist, like, but then fucking, there's one point where he's picking up his daughter. He picks up his daughter from school. They're driving home, and his daughter's like, "Yo, everybody at school is telling me we're racist. Like, did we own slaves?" And she's and the dad's just like, "No, we're not racist. Like, do you see any slaves at our house? Or you see any slaves in our backyard?" And she was like, "Mr. Pedro, like the gardener." And and the dad's like, "Mr. Pedro, I pay him." Right? But that shit it's real interesting that she was like, "Yo, Mr. Pedro is the fucking," oh, that's crazy. They're showing how they're flipping the reality and you know what I'm saying? It's just that's why we're talking about this week to week. It's the best TV show around. It's not just a regular TV show. The shit you're getting from here is pretty fucking beautiful. It says there it's like it's putting a satirical twist to attack like anti-CRT fucking people, critical race theory. I didn't even know what CRT was standing for. I don't be all tuned in and all that shit, nigga. I'm just a nigga. I'm just here. I'm living it. Okay? I don't be all tuned in to all that shit y'all be woke ass white people be talking about. I don't know. I'm just black. I'm here. I'm a part of the problem. I'm one day away from being George Floyd. I'm not gonna be you know what I'm saying? Like I'm him. I'm black. I'm living it. I don't know. I didn't know what CRT was, but as I'm saying, eventually this nigga he gets sued. He gets served. This black lady run up in his crib with her phone. She's like, "Oh shit, I'm about to remodel all this shit." Like, yo, you know, niggas owned her family. Owned her great grandmother and her father, and she's like, "You owe me $3 million. You owe me $3 million." She's harassing this nigga for this $3 million that he owes her for reparations, and it's wild because at one point his ex-wife they're separated. She finds out that he's being sued for having his family owned slaves. And she's like, "Yo, we have to get a divorce. I can't be connected to this white racist. like, I'm Persian. And he's like, you're Persian? You were white, like, 2 weeks ago. And it's like, yeah, I bet she was. That's how that shit work. Them niggas is, they're ethnic when they need to be. If you can pass, you know what I'm saying? If you could just pass. And I was reading this article, I think it was in The Ringer, but the whole thing was like, you know, the outlook of this whole episode is just more so like, white is just like, it's not a real thing, it's just like a perception or some shit. And if like it, and this whole thing is about like, if roles were flipped, but it's not like I would ever want roles to be flipped. I would simply never want anyone to be white. No one. Because that shit seems crazy. They seem to have the advantage over everybody else. That shit is weird. So yeah, I fucks with this episode for, if the main point is that idea of just whiteness being so great, like, then no one should be white ever. Anyone. Be who you are. Be Italian. Be Persian. You know what I'm saying? Don't be white if you can just pull that card out. If you're so lucky to pull that card out, I would rather prefer that no one was white. No one. It's not even a real thing. It's not even, am I from Blackica? What are we talking about here? It's not even a real thing. You from Whitica? What are we talking about here? Let's head on over to Whitica. It's not a real thing. But I loved watching white people lose everything. In this episode of Atlanta, season 3, episode 4, I loved every second of it. Right away when I was catching on to what's going on, I was like, yes. Loved every second of it. I was sitting there watching with my white wife, and I'm just like, yes. I muted the shit. Yes. I'm like, yes. I had to get that last one off. It's a dope-ass episode. If you're not watching Atlanta and you're listening to this podcast and you're not watching Atlanta, nigga, please. You better go watch that shit. Because this shit crazy. This shit is amazing. Alright? It's amazing. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to Rothaniel. My boy Rothaniel. You know, y'all know I fucks with Gerard Carmichael. I feel like we got just like a real similar sense of humor. Our sense of humor is right there. He dropped his special Rothaniel. I think I recorded last week's episode. And then I said to my wife, like, yo, my wife wanted to watch it. And I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling the last special, the special before this one. I like, it was like so. So I was just like, I don't know. But then after I recorded the episode, I was like, yo, let's put that on. Let's just check out the Gerard and just see how it is. And I'm looking at him like, what is it called? With Rothaniel? I didn't know what, and then I watched it. And he was like, I've been lying to y'all this whole time, like, about my real name. My name isn't Gerard. And I was like, fuck, it's Rothaniel. Like, right, you know what I'm saying? I was like, right away, it's his name is Rothaniel. Like, I mean, that's how he ends the special with, it's Rothaniel. Like, all right, y'all have a good night. I was like, nigga, of course it's Rothaniel. I mean, I'm sure you didn't sell tickets to the Rothaniel recording. And niggas was like, yo, what's his real name? I don't know what the fuck Rothaniel is. But it's kind of a name. And he's describing it this way. Like, pretty sure he didn't advertise it as the Rothaniel recording sessions. But he reveals that his real name is Rothaniel and not Gerard. That's just a fake name that his friend gave to him, or his cousin or some shit like that, or his brother, somebody gave him this name. His real name is Rothaniel. But the most important thing is Gerard Carmichael came out of the closet in this special. He wanted to be real. He described coming out to his parents and how hard it was for him, because he was like, yo, we come from a place where they don't expect gay babies. That's what he said. Where they don't expect gay babies, and where you have to be a man. And I mean, I was like, yeah, whatever the fuck that means. And he's like, yeah, whatever that means. That's why I was like, yo, me and this nigga have the same fucking comedic, or just, we think alike, you know what I'm saying? We're both equally funny, real ass niggas. He's just gay. But this nigga, yeah, he came out of the closet on Nathaniel, and it was pretty dope because it was like a conversation. He was like, he wants this whole thing to be a conversation. He's sitting in a chair. The crowd was like asking him questions, and he was talking about how his mom's like super religious, and she's just like, I'm not gonna go against God, nigga. I'm not gonna go against God, nigga. Get out of here. That's your son, nigga. That's your son, nigga. Don't go against your family, nigga. Your fucking flesh and blood, nigga. But yeah, she was like, he said his mom was like, I'm not gonna go against God, and she's just like struggling with the whole thing. And his dad, he was talking about how his dad was like cheating on his mom the whole time, and his mom didn't know about it, and he was like, yo, you gotta like come clean. And that's what led to him coming clean about the whole thing. And he was like, his dad was just like treating it like, all right, yeah, it's cool, like I fucked up and you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because he had just fucking came clean that he was cheating on his wife, and then Gerard came clean that he was gay, and the dude was like fucking, like I fucked up, you fucked up. Like we both did something. Like that was his dad's fucking, which is like, as I get older, I'm like, I completely understand. His whole like, yeah, you did something, I did something. Like, when I used to fucking, like, see older fucking cool-ass dads, and it's like, yo, they're not cool-ass dads. It's just like, nigga, they probably been working all day. They ain't got time for this conversation. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the cool-ass dad you thought was cool. Meanwhile, he didn't even want to fucking have that conversation. I'm turned up, ladies and gentlemen. Turned up just a little bit. But this was a beautiful fucking special, man. Just the whole, like, therapy session, like, he was having with the audience about the whole thing. And, just how hard it was for him to come out for, just to his parents, to the world, like, all that. Shout out to Gerard. Yeah, shout out to Gerard, man. Shout out to him for having the courage to be that person. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he should. I don't have an opinion on it. I'm like, I don't have an opinion. I should not say no opinion. Should I say? I was gonna say. I feel like niggas should just be themselves in the beginning. I know it's. I guess if you feel like you have this secret fucking life and you fucking got niggas who believe in Jesus and you're like, Jesus is gonna send you down and burn you. You got all this shit, nigga. If you got all this shit on your fucking mind, nigga, then you like, I can't be myself. I guess. But me as an atheist ass nigga that don't believe in nothing, I'm like, just be yourself. You know. Just be yourself. You're going to have a better time. That's what I was trying to explain to my wife. I was talking about some shit that happened when I was when I was in a Head Start, when I was like 4 years old. One of my oldest grudges. I think I talked about it here. One of my oldest grudges back when I was 4 years old. And I was just saying, like, that's what I was trying to explain to her. It was just like, just be yourself, you're going to have a better time. That's the whole basis of what I was trying to say. So we're going to move on. Because I don't need to be giving niggas... I get niggas advice. That's why I give Gerard advice. I get niggas advice. But, you know, niggas be like, how you gonna give that nigga advice if you ain't that, what that nigga is doing? I'm like, nigga, because I'm watching because I watched the special, nigga. And I'm black. Because I watched the special, and I'm black. So that's just how we're gonna do it. That's how we're going to do it today. We had UFC today. Sorry, I had to do some things. We had UFC 273, ladies and gentlemen. Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. That wasn't the official main event, but it was the people's main event, ladies and gentlemen, and I am the people's. At least I am a man of the persons. Shit. I'm a man of the persons. That's pretty cool. Not what I said, the fucking, my camera light stand or whatever just fell to my face. That was pretty cool. I was like, that footage is probably pretty interesting. I'd like to see that. As I said, Khamzat Chimaev took on Gilbert Burns at UFC 273. Coming into this fight, Khamzat had absorbed one significant strike in his 4-fight UFC career, his 10-fight professional career. And I, along with a lot of people, thought he was going to walk through Gilbert Burns as he did in every other fight. And there was one other fight in Brave where he wasn't able to take that person down. It was a pretty tough fight, but he was ultimately knocked that person out with an uppercut. So that was a pretty tough fight for him, but he ultimately knocked that person out. So most people thought he was going to walk through Gilbert, who's much smaller. Just much smaller. And has known to not have the best chin. You know what I'm saying? He's been finished by, I think, Dan Hooker, finished by Kamaru Usman. So, with someone like Khamzat Chimaev, who has shown his one-punch knockout power, it wasn't looking too good for Gilbert Burns, but as we all should know, that ended up being what was in the third round. They're like, yo, this is most likely going into the Hall of Fame, like instant classic fight of the year, like all Hall of Fame. All right, it's going to the Hall of Fame is what they're talking, is how good this fight was. It's interesting because it was kind of like afterwards, people were like, "Oh, that was a great war." I did, if I was live scoring, and if that mattered, I scored the second round for Gilbert because he got the drop. But if that drop never happened, if he never dropped Khamzat Chimaev by giving him that winging punch to the back of the head, if he never dropped him with that, I give that round to Khamzat. Khamzat was all over him that round. He was all over him the first round. He was all over him in that round. And if he didn't drop him right then, and then hit him with that illegal knee immediately as Khamzat's on the ground, Gilbert hit Hamzat with an illegal knee. Like, even without that shit there, I give the round to Hamzat. Hamzat was dominating that fight from pillar to post. He was getting into moments where he was getting into brawls, and whenever he would brawl, that's when Gilbert would start to land. Gilbert was landing some good. He outstruck Hamzat Chimaev, I think 119 to 108. Because Hamzat was just looking for these knockout punches. He's throwing these looping punches with so much power that he's slipping and falling. He was trying so hard to knock out Gilbert. He'd been talking all week that he was going to knock out Gilbert. And unfortunately, so after here's the video. Here's the sound bite after round 3 after Hamzat's. That's Hamzat's cornerman, his coach, flipping out on this man. And what Hamzat's coach was telling him was he was telling him to just focus, stop brawling and slow down. Because whenever Hamzat would slow down and just throw jabs, he was fucking Gilbert up. Whenever he would just start looping, like just trying to brawl and knock Gilbert out, when he was trying to throw power punches, Gilbert was catching him. Gilbert was like slipping his punches and then countering him. But whenever he like stood at distance and just like picked him apart, he was fucking Gilbert up. His coach went crazy on him after the third round. And then, after the second round. And then the third round, Hamzat went in there and picked him apart from a distance, slowed it down. He said after the fight that he felt like he was just trying to get that knockout. He's chasing the knockout, as I said, because he kept talking about it. All week he said he was going to finish Gilbert Burns in the first round. So he felt like he needed to knock this man out, but he did not, and he was not able to. He dropped him in the first round, cut him open with some ground and pound in the first round, but Gilbert was able to survive. It was a great fight. I don't necessarily feel it was the war that people are saying it was. I think Hamzat dominated, but it still was a great fight to watch. I'm a big fan of Boars, but we see now, as this episode is called, Hamzat is human. You know, ladies and gentlemen, Hamzat is human. Dana White is saying he wants Colby. He wants Hamzat to fight Colby Covington next. He mentions that they have an upcoming ABC card, a free fight on ABC, and he basically wants Hamzat to fight Colby Covington in the headline for that. So I'll watch the fuck out of that fight. I honestly don't want it to happen. Those are probably like two of my favorite fighters. I just don't want either one to lose. But I think that's a very interesting fight because Hamzat did look to tire out in the third round, but at the same time, he was coming forward throwing looping ass punches, just like winging shots, missing. A lot of the sloppy shit you would see from Usman, like when I said how like Jorge was laughing at Usman when he threw that crazy shit, that's a lot what it looked like with Hamzat. Whenever he would go to brawl, like, yeah, he's got power and he's in love with the fact that he can knock people out, but he needs to understand that's probably not the best course of action here because, well, those straight shots, he's so much bigger than most people in this division. He's so good with he's got such a good jab, he's got good leg kicks, he could just stay at distance and pick people apart and then use his wrestling to really put the cherry on top. But he chooses to brawl because he's in love with his hands. It's pretty interesting. I don't think at this moment he's ready for Usman. You know, it's crazy what a day will do. I thought, if you asked me 2 days ago, I'd say Hamzat's going to walk through Usman and potentially just destroy Adesanya, who probably I felt like couldn't stop the wrestling for whatever reason. And then looking at, evens now, even with the fact that Gilbert was able to stop the wrestling means nothing to me in regards to what I feel like Adesanya would be able to defend in the grappling exchanges, or what anybody. Just because Gilbert is the fucking multi-time world jiu-jitsu champion. He was able to, like, use his butterfly guards properly and just get into proper positions to, like, kick Chimaev off. I feel like neither Adesanya or Usman have the just the hours of just grappling, just the fucking years of grappling. You know what I'm saying? To just have the know-how of what to do in that situation, what's best there, yada, just to make the right decisions. They don't have that acumen that he has, is all I'm saying here. It's so, whatever Burns was ever to do, whatever he was able to do, as opposed, in regards to defense, says nothing to me as regards to what Adesanya, and I'm not really sure what it really says for Usman, because as I was saying about that, I don't really know, there's not really any other fighters on that level, wrestling-wise, where Usman would have to defend it to that point. Usually he's the aggressor. There's nobody who can wrestle with him on his level. The only other person would probably be Colby that he's fought. And Colby did take him down, but they just didn't register. They didn't credit him for that. How do you end up on your hands and knees? And they're like, nah, that's not a takedown. Anybody else in that position, they're like, it's a takedown. But with Colby, they're like, nah, not really. He didn't really take him down. Yeah, he put him on his hands and knees, but he didn't take him down. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Other than that one time, we haven't really seen Colby. Well, we haven't seen Usman or Colby have to really defend the kind of wrestling you're going to get from Khamzat Chimaev. So I'm interested to see that fight. If they book Khamzat versus Colby, I don't know if Colby's going to do it. But I'm interested in seeing it. This fight was fucking crazy. I loved it. And dude, my hat's off to Gilbert Burns. Like, he won me over with this fight. I've never really been, like, a huge Gilbert Burns fan. Like, I think, because he made his name off beating some of my favorite fighters, like Damian Maia, Tyron Woodley, you know what I'm saying? So I've never been too much of a Burns fan, but he won me over with this fight, definitely. Dana White said he is giving Gilbert Burns his win bonus. That's how good this fight was. Gilbert Burns is getting his win bonus, so that's pretty fucking phenomenal. It's a great fight. He deserves it. And I can't wait to see him fight in his next... Whoever he fights in the next fight, I'm watching. Gilbert Burns is a fucking dog. I'm watching it. You got Aljamain Sterling for the Jermaines! For the Jermaines! Aljamain Sterling defeats Petr Yan in the rematch. He beat that nigga ass in round 2, took that nigga down, and he beat that nigga ass in round 2 for all the Jermaines. For all the Jermaines. He did it. He fucking did it. Shout out to Aljamain Sterling. I scored it a draw. But my scorecard means nothing. And then when I saw the Weasels breakdown of the first round, I was like, damn, I was kind of crediting just Jan's aggression a little more than I should have in the first round. And if I take away that aggression, Aljamain Sterling clearly won the first round. So shout out to Aljamain, who is now the undisputed champion. He defeated Petr Yan when people tried to say, oh, he was an actor and yada, yada, yada. He could never beat Petr Yan, Piotr. And we have, and still, undisputed UFC champion, 135 pounds, Jermaine Sterling, Funk Mastered, for all the Jermaines. Thank you, Jermaine Sterling, on a beautiful performance. That second round, beautiful. Couldn't have drawn it up better if I wrote fiction about it. If I wrote MMA fiction, couldn't have wrote it better myself. Beautiful, Jermaine. Fucking third round, beautiful. But that second round, whew. I saw a tweet from Jermaine Sterling. It was like he beat the piss out of him in the second round. Like, yes, he did, bruh. People were like, he didn't have 1-10-8. What fucking fight were you watching? He was attempting submissions constantly, and then he fucking flattened this nigga out, was on his back, on the ground, and just fucking unloading punches on this nigga. I thought they were going to stop that fight. And y'all like, there's no 10-8s? Fuck, nigga, how about a 10-7, nigga? He dominated that nigga for 2 rounds straight. Dominated that nigga. Shout out to Jermaine for all the Jermaines. For all the Jermaines, yes. No matter how you spell it, for all the Jermaines, he did it. He did it. We did it. Yes. I sent that nigga my energy like Goku, nigga. We out here. For all the Jermaines. He did it. He fucking did it. In the main event, you had Alexander Volkanovski versus Korean Zombie. And Jesus Christ, Zombie had no business in there with Volkanovski. Korean Zombie had no business in the octagon with the Korean Zombie. With Alexander Volkanovski. Fuck, I fucked that up. Korean Zombie had no business in there with Alexander Volkanovski. He got fucking teed off on. Right away, I was like, holy fuck, dude. This is like an MMA demonstration. Like, Zombie's just kind of standing there and getting fucking lit up. Volk was doing whatever the fuck he wanted to Chang Sung-jung. And thankfully, mercifully, Herb Dean stepped in the 4th round and just grabbed Volk. Get off of him. Stop this shit. You had Korean Zombie taking off the gloves. If y'all don't know, that means niggas is talking about retirement. And he said he doesn't know if he's got to talk it over. He doesn't know if he's going to fight again after this. He got fucking ran through. It was crazy. At the end of the 3rd round, they're like, yo, they got to stop this fight. There's no reason this fight is going to go on. The commentary team is just going on. Like, yo, they got to stop this fight. They're like, he's not even going to stand in the stool. They had to, like, sit him down on the ground. They're like, look at him. Like, we got to stop this fight. They brought in the doctor. But they just didn't stop the fight. The corner could have stopped it. They let him go back in there, and he was just getting abused. And right away, Herb Dean was like, no, grab Volk, get off of him. Get off of him. You're going to murder him. Absolute domination. Nation of domination. Shout out to Alexander Volkanovski. This man is a fucking stud at 145 pounds. What he is calling for next, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Volkanovski wants to fight the winner of Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje, nigga. I'm excited for that already. I would have said, nah, man. He's too short. I don't want to see him in there, but he's so good. He's talking about how he's undefeated at every weight class except middleweight. He's lost at 185 pounds. 40 pounds lighter than, heavier than where he is the champion right now. And he wants to move up to 155. Fight the winner of Justin Gaethje Oliveira, nigga. I want to see it. Can't wait to see it. So go ahead and book that. I can't wait. Now I'm just like super excited for 274. I want to see that champ fight. Please don't let this hype die down. I want to see it. And next week we have UFC Fight Night, Belal Muhammed versus Vicente Luque. Maybe that's not how it's pronounced. Maybe if he was Italian, it'd be Vicente, but he's not. Vicente Luque 2 is a rematch. I believe Luque won the first one. I'm not 100% familiar with that fight, actually. I probably watched it. I always go back, and I'll be like, oh, when they fought already? Let me go back and watch it. Let me go back and see when that was. And I'll go back and I'll be like, damn, I was legit. I'll be like, I know where I was watching that card, and I can't believe I don't remember that fight. Like, I'll be like, oh, shit, it was on that card? I was living on the south side over here on that night, watching this, kicking it by myself. Or I was over here, I'll know where I was with a lot of these cards. So I'm usually shocked when I don't remember how these first fight went. Because usually it's like, I've watched it. I've literally watched it, is usually how it is. But with this fight, I think this is a fun main event. It's going to be pretty competitive. I'm not sure who wins this fight, honestly. I think Luque won the first one, as I said. I think Belal has improved a lot, and I think Luque has improved a lot. He's got that knockout power. And I know Muhammad is going to want to grapple and try to nullify that, but Luque's got his grappling, too. This is going to be a really interesting fight. I think they're two, fan favorites, and that makes it a little more interesting. Big fan of Belal on Twitter. I'm gonna go with Belal. I want Belal. I always want Belal to win. I'm a huge Belal fan. And as I said, I don't like when niggas beat my favorite fighters like Tyron Woodley. So I'm going with Belal. I'm going Belal to beat Luque. That's what we're doing. Another fight. We got Miguel Baeza versus Andre Fiallo. That's an interesting fight right there. I'm real interested to see Baeza in his fight. A real interesting prospect. Other fighters on the card I'm interested in. I'm not going to talk about their fights. We got Rafa Garcia. I'm checking out Rafa Garcia. You got Jordan Levitt. Interested in Jordan Levitt's fight. I'm interested in every fight on the card, but I just want to mention some names. Why not? And if you guys want to follow this podcast, yeah, we're going to get up out of here. If you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal accounts at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast at Babylon5. Oh, shit. I don't say that no more. Nigga, like this podcast anywhere you niggas is listening to it right now. Hit that like button, alright? Hit that like button and let me know it's real. If you niggas is on Twitch, go ahead and follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. And if you guys if you guys want to purchase some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Negroes, be my Niji. Be my Niji. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod to be my Niji. And this has been episode 138. We're going to call this bad boy human, as I said. Thank you guys so much for being here for another week. Hope you guys have a phenomenal week, as I said, and I will hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant